Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Real Time, where we talk about the movies we like.
And the ones we don't.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Molly.
Today, we're going to be taking a look at the big three in terms of slasher movie villains. That being Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and Freddy Krueger. Now, the slasher genre didn't start with these three characters. It has its roots going way back to the old days of Universal horror, whether it be Dracula or whatever mummy incarnation you're going with. But the more modern uh, slasher really got to start with Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Black Christmas. Halloween just happened to be the right one at the right time to really make it big, honestly.
Yeah. And these characters are the ones that are widely remembered today as being some of the most famous slashers out there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, we talked about Halloween a fair amount of times before, so we're not gonna go too in depth here. But long story short, this one's my favorite of these three, the original Halloween. I think it's a very basic movie, but it does its basic story very well. I think it has an ordinary setting, that being a suburban neighborhood, that's a bit more that feels at home to anyone who grew up in an environment like this. Its killer is just a guy in a mask who could be anyone really, but at the same time, he's also the embodiment of evil is that is out there in the world that can be just around any corner, any bush, in any car, just waiting to kill.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. This one is definitely my favorite by far. It's the only one of the three that I watch every year around Halloween. Um, so, yeah, definitely my favorite.
Yeah, very much. So, with that said, let's move on to our next movie, and that is 1980's Friday the 13th. Now, we said we're talking about the big three slasher killers, but Jason isn't really in this one. He wouldn't really make his presence known until the second movie, though he does appear at the very end of this one. But, why not?
Yeah, um, I guess, yeah, technically you're right. He's not in this one. So, but it's the start of the franchise, so it counts.
It'd feel weird to just skip to part two, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Anyways, Friday the 13th was directed by Sean S. Cunningham, and it takes place at a camp during the summer. Some new camp counselors are just arrived and are trying to get the camp open as it's been closed for the past 12 years after some camp counselors got butchered after the year before. They accidentally let a kid drown after they were off banging in a closet, presumably. And his mom got pissed off at that, so she just started bumping him off. Spoiler alert, I guess, but it's a 45-year-old movie, so if if you haven't seen it by now, then that's not my fault.
Yeah, this is a pretty well known movie, so we're going to assume that you have seen it or you at least know what it's about.
Yeah, at this point, through cultural osmosis, most people know that Jason was not the killer in the original Friday the 13th. And if they don't know through that, then just through the movie Scream, really.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, this movie is kind of. It's even more bare bones than Halloween, if that's at all possible. It it takes some bland and kind of vanilla characters into a camp setting, and it just butchers them left and right. I can't say I care too much about any particular one, honestly. The final girl, Alice, played by Adrienne King, is fine enough. She's a likable enough character, but I can't say I love her like I do other final girls like Sydney Prescott, Laurie Strode, or Nancy.
Yes, I am definitely going to have to agree with you there. I don't really feel any connections to these characters. I don't care for them all that much. Um, yeah.
Also starring in this movie is Mrs. Voorhees, Jason's mother, played by Betsy Palmer. Yeah, she kind of appears in the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie, and it's supposed to be a shock that, oh, she's the killer. Great, cool. Because we've seen kills take place from the killer's point of view earlier in the movie, which is an interesting way to do it. It's a good way to build suspense as to who the killer is. But it's like this is the first time we were even meeting this character, and there's no suspense. There's no mystery at all. It's just okay. This new character. You're the killer.
Yeah, I think if I mean, I don't have any credentials here, but if I was to have wrote the movie, I would have put her character in there since the beginning, so there's more suspense of who's doing this, who's the killer.
Yeah, just like she said before, she worked as a cook in the camp, so just put her there in the movie. It makes a lot more sense. Now, maybe they couldn't because they didn't have Betsy Palmer for too much. Maybe that's a reason why. In which case, makes sense. But they, I don't know. Just I I'm kind of talking crap about a movie that I kind of like. Honestly, I feel.
Yeah.
But also, in regards to later sequels, this movie kind of doesn't stand out too much. Like yeah, it's the first. You can't have the others without it. But there aren't a whole lot of very memorable kills outside of Kevin Bacon getting the arrow through his neck. Which okay, that was pretty interesting. But outside of that, there isn't a whole lot of that. There's much more memorable kills later on in the series. Like at one point, Jason freezes this chick in liquid nitrogen, then bashes her head in, and a few other times he picks up these girls in their sleeping bags and just bashes them against trees. And at another point, he folds a guy in half after he rises from his grave. They get really creative, and sure, this is the first one, so I can't knock them too much for not having a whole lot of creativity, but still.
Yeah, the arrow through the neck is definitely the most memorable kill of this movie. But again, like you said, this is the first one, trying things out. So yeah, it makes sense that there weren't quite as much creativity in the kills, I guess.
Yeah. So let's see. Betsy Palmer, this was a bit of a turn for her because she'd been known for, I guess, more family-friendly movies prior to this. And according to her, after it came out, there was some outrage for her involvement in this movie. Gene Siskel apparently tried to publish her address in the newspaper and encouraged people to send her hate mail. So, that's great, Gene. Just doxing this woman who's because she didn't because she appeared in something that you didn't like her in. That's real cool, jackass.
Yeah, she's just doing her job, man. She's getting paid.
On the upside, he did get the wrong address.
Oh, well, sorry to whoever's address that was.
Betsy Palmer actually also didn't really think much of the script and was kind of hesitant, as well as receiving lots of backlash after it. But as years went on, she embraced the movie and the real dedication that the fan base has for it. So that's cool.
Yeah, it definitely does have a strong fan base. So, yeah, it probably worked out for her in the end.
And of course, this movie was the effects were created by the incredible Tom Savini. He did some incredible work in this, as well as the Romero Dead series.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
though as the movies went on, his work would be neutered by the MPAA, unfortunate, as well as TV broadcasting. So it's like you're cutting out all the fun parts.
Yeah, boo.
Uh, there is something that I really don't like about this movie, and it may also be kind of coloring my perception of it. But they kill an actual snake on screen, and it was a pet belonging to the animal handler. They asked to use it in the scene, and he didn't know that they were going to kill it. I mean, why would he?
Yeah, I wish I never learned that fact because, I'll be honest, it does damper my feelings on this movie.
Call me a pussy all you want. I don't care. I just don't like the fact that an actual animal had to be killed for this movie. That's absolutely horrible.
Yeah, especially, oh man, it was a pet. Like, I can't. It makes it almost. Don't judge me. Maybe I'm overreacting, but it almost makes me, like, sick to my stomach when I watch that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I hate this.
The animal's owner had to be restrained so that he wouldn't beat the director's ass, and honestly, I feel like he should have been able to.
Yeah, definitely. He better have sued or, got something in return.
I would hope so. But jeez. I mean, you hear stuff like this happening in the movie Cannibal Holocaust. I don't like it happening there either, because on screen they kill an actual turtle. But I will say that in that movie's defense, they actually cooked and ate the turtle, so it wasn't just killed for the sake of killing an animal for the movie.
Yeah, and it wasn't a pet, it wasn't something that was, cared for and looked after.
But on the other hand, that movie also killed a spider, a couple of monkeys, a snake, and a pig. So it definitely comes out looking worse.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, not good.
No, not at all. I don't like that. Not at all. In that movie or this one, it's absolutely ridiculous. But it's kind of a cliche to say it, but it was a different time.
Yeah, it was.
Betsy Palmer's the only reason to appear in this movie was she wanted to get money for a new car. Respect.
Yeah, she just needed some work. I don't blame her.
Overall, this movie is perfectly fine. It's not a bad movie. It's not a great one. It's not as fun as some of the other stuff that comes afterwards. It's not as scary, really. I don't think I've ever been scared by a Friday the 13th movie, to be honest.
This is the only one I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, I haven't shown you Freddy vs. Jason yet.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, if we weren't on a time crunch for pre-recording some of these videos, I would definitely make sure we did that. But what are you going to do?
What you gonna do, yeah?
I don't know, man. But that will do it for Friday the 13th. It's perfectly fine. Check it out or don't. If you're into the cabin in the woods genre, then I'd recommend Evil Dead or Cabin in the Woods. But this is okay too.
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm gonna be honest, it's not really my thing. I think I mean, like I said, I've only ever seen one of these movies. Maybe it's because this one wasn't my favorite, so I never rewatch it during Halloween time. So the only time I ever watch it is when you do. So
fair enough. Well, let's get into a movie that we really do like, and that is the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
A Nightmare on Elm Street it's not one of the best horror movies of all time, but it has one of the best horror characters of all time, Freddy Krueger. This is his start. This is how he became the iconic character that we all know and love today. So let's get into this.
Yes, very iconic character.
Nightmare on Elm Street was released in 1984 and directed by the late Wes Craven. Uh, you know how we feel about Wes Craven. We did our reviews on the Scream movies, and suffice to say, he was a great talent, and he's very much missed today.
Yes, he is.
The movie stars Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, or Fred Krueger, as he's credited as in this first movie. Definitely a creepier, more horror influenced take than he would later become. Here, he's definitely taken a lot more seriously than he is in later movies. Hell, even in the next movie, he definitely takes a drop in his scare factor, but not too much, admittedly.
Yeah, again, this is the only one I've seen, so.
Didn't I show you Wes Craven's New Nightmare?
Oh, yeah, you did. But that was a really long time ago, so I don't remember it too much.
Yeah, though that movie's Freddy. It's definitely that one's tone is more in tune with this original movie too. So there's that.
Yeah, yeah.
Starting with probably Nightmare Part 3 is where Freddy starts becoming a bit more goofy, a bit more lighthearted. Definitely cracking a lot more jokes than he did in the first two movies. Though the second one has some of that still.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet. We're talking about the first one, where he's definitely a bit more hateable than he is in next installments.
I'll take your word for it.
Heather Langenkamp plays Nancy Thompson, the main character, more or less, if you don't count Freddy, in this first movie. She's, like I said, one of my more favorite final girls in horror movies. She's a likable, competent, and really intelligent character who you don't want to see. You want to see her succeed.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's pretty likable enough. Yeah.
John Saxon plays her dad, Lieutenant Donald Thompson, police lieutenant who is kind of skeptical but kind of trying to keep her safe at the same time. Since, well, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, get to it later.
Amanda Wiss plays Tina Gray, Nancy's best friend, who is set up to be the protagonist when we first start the movie, but like Janet Leigh in Psycho or Drew Barrymore in Scream, she's just a decoy.
Yep. I don't know where I was going with that.
That's okay.
I got a headache, man. I'm distracted.
Jesus Garcia, but credited at the time as Nick Corey, plays Rod, Tina's boyfriend. Now he was credited as this because his agent didn't think that a Hispanic actor would actually be able to get any parts at the time. That's awful.
Yeah. And what was this? It was just the 80s, right?
Yeah. Well, people were racist back then. Well, they still are.
Yeah. All right, yeah.
There's also this unknown actor who I don't think really did anything else in his career, but Johnny Depp. Am I saying that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anything big ever came with him. You know.
Nah, but this was his very first movie as Glenn, Nancy's boyfriend, and this wasn't a very good first footing for Johnny Depp, but it's fine. He would go on to do some alright stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have too much to do in this movie, really, so it's okay.
Yeah, he plays the love interest who's functional enough, but not really worth writing home about.
Yeah. He gets killed, and it's all good.
These are our main players, so let's get into the movie itself. I have some sort of the same problems with this movie that I have with the original Friday the 13th, in that it's really not fair, but like later movies would have more interesting and more creative kills, but that's not to say that this movie doesn't. Basically, all the kills that Freddy does are pretty creative and pretty cool to watch. You get Tina getting slashed and then dragged all over the ceiling and walls. You get Rod getting hung by this bed sheet that wraps around his neck, and then you get Glenn getting sucked into his bed and a geyser of blood shoots out. Like, these are good kills.
Yes, very creative, very nasty, pretty cool.
And to think that the series would only go up from there, just in part 3 alone, you got a guy who gets his tendons cut and used as a marionette to walk up to the top of a building and then forced to jump off. And then you have this other guy who is in a wheelchair. And then in the dream world, Freddy kills him with a wheelchair with all these blades and stuff on it because he turns himself into a wizard.
Okay. Nice.
And in the same movie, Freddy also makes this other teen overdose herself on drugs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Freddy's kind of a dick.
Sounds like it.
Anyway, so Freddy, I think it's pretty safe to say everyone knows his backstory, but we're going to fill runtime with it anyways. In the past, Freddy was a child killer who is let off on a technicality. Someone didn't sign the arrest warrant, so all that evidence gets thrown out, and he gets to walk free. Look, I'm no lawyer, but I'm not sure if that's right.
I certainly am not a lawyer either.
So the parents of Springwood, pretty peeved that this guy got off scot-free for killing their kids, decided to take matters into their own hands, and they burn him alive in his boiler room. And in later sequels, we find out that Freddy basically made a deal with this dream demon to come back and be able to have these dream powers so he can take revenge on these parents for killing him. Sure, that's fine.
Sure. I definitely think the parents are justified in their actions.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. But to be fair, they didn't know he was going to come back.
Yeah. And originally speaking, Freddy was supposed to be a child molester as well as a child murderer. But a string of child molestation in LA at the time caused Wes Craven to leave that detail out.
Yeah, all right.
He didn't want to seem like he was taking advantage of, tragic situations in real life.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Though, another part of Freddy's sort of wheelhouse was taken from real life. At the time, there was also a string of Southeast Asian men who were dying in their sleep. Make of that what you will.
Freddy Krueger come to life.
Also, Wes Craven based Freddy off of this homeless guy that scared the hell out of him when he was a kid.
Okay.
Hey, take the inspiration where you can get it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Freddy is definitely one of them. Concerning what the big three in slasher, he's my favorite for a couple of reasons that are pretty easy to gauge. He has a great personality. Okay, this guy, well, he has a personality for one, as opposed to Jason and Michael. He's got great creative kills. He's just funny sometimes.
Yeah, and you bring up an interesting point. Because Michael and Jason are pretty similar, as in they don't talk and they just are menacing. But Freddy, he does have a personality and cracks jokes and all that stuff.
Yeah, but also at the end of the day, as funny as he can be, he's still going to kill you.
Yes, that is true.
And like I said, he has some really creative ways to do it. I can't even get into all of my favorites, but we'll get there in due time, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep, we'll see.
Add on to the fact that Robert Englund is, well, throughout the main series, he was the only actor for Freddy. Well, for the most part. You got stunt actors and stuff, but
Yeah.
But as opposed to Michael Myers and Jason, who have had many actors throughout the years, whether it be Nick Castle or James Jude Courtney for Michael, or Kane Hodder for Jason being some of the most well known. Robert Englund has been the only face and voice of Freddy outside of the remake, which had Jackie Earle Haley.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Heck, he even Robert Englund even played Freddy on an episode of The Goldbergs in a dream sequence.
That's funny.
So that also lends to his staying power and his iconicity. I think the fact that he's a lot more consistent in terms of who plays him.
Yeah. But again, to be fair, I would not be able to tell who plays Michael and all that.
Oh, believe me, there's some people on the internet who can.
I'm sure, but I am not one of them.
Neither am I.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So the nurse who examined Nancy in the movie was played by Wes Craven's then wife, Mimi Craven.
Mimi?
Yeah.
All right.
So in the 80s and 90s, there was an X-rated cut that was pretty hard to come by. The only known DVD release of it was in Turkey, and even then, that was harder to come across than the video cassettes releases that were in other countries. The 1996 Laserdisc release was the only way to really get a more reliable version of it. But as we all know, Laserdisc is kind of a dead medium at this point.
Yeah. I don't even know what a Laserdisc player looks like.
The player, I have no idea, but the actual Laserdisc, just think of a big old DVD the size of a vinyl album.
Yeah, I've seen those in like antique stores, but yeah, they just look like big records to me.
But as of the release of the 4K version of Nightmare, the uncut version is available a lot more easily.
You have the uncut. No. Yes?
Yeah, we do. That's the one we watched.
Yeah. I didn't remember. But yes, you do have that.
Okay. So, initially, a stuntman was just going to be the one to play Freddy, but Wes Craven realized he needed an actor for it. Some actors considered were Kane Hodder, who was, like I said, one of the more well-known actors to play Jason Voorhees, and Robin Williams were considered.
Kind of funny.
Yeah, very. David Warner came close to playing the role and had a makeup test done, but due to scheduling issues, he had to pass. Also up for the role of Nancy were Courtney Cox, Jennifer Grey, and Demi Moore. Charlie Sheen was interested in playing Glenn, but wanted more money than the producers could afford. Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, C. Thomas Howell, Brad Pitt, and Kiefer Sutherland were also considered.
Yes, lots of big names.
Roy Scheider was considered for the role of Nancy's dad, but was shooting 2010 The Year We Make Contact, the sequel to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Didn't see it.
According to Robert Englund, he also based his performance of Freddy Krueger on Klaus Kinski's role as Orlok in the remake of Nosferatu.
All right.
That's about it, I'd say. Any final thoughts on the original Nightmare?
I think again, maybe it's just because I've only seen the first movie, so and whatever. So don't attack me, but it's not really my thing either. I don't really like this one. I don't rewatch this one unless you make me rewatch it. So, it's just not my thing.
Well,
Yeah.
one last little bit of trivia that I think is kind of amusing.
Okay.
So in Wes Craven's movie, The Hills Have Eyes, at one point there's like a poster of a shark on someone's wall. You could kind of make it. You can just assume that it's Jaws. Why not?
Okay.
So it's kind of like he's saying, yeah, that's just a movie. This is really scary. So in Sam Raimi's original Evil Dead, he has there's a poster of The Hills Have Eyes in that movie to kind of make a similar jab at that. Now in Nightmare, at one point Nancy's watching The Evil Dead. It's sort of like, it's kind of like a back and forth thing they got going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of funny.
And then later on in Evil Dead 2, there was a prop of Freddy's glove.
Ah, yeah.
Which makes it funny because later on in the comics, Ash would cross over with Freddy and Jason, so it's kind of a friendly rivalry thing they had going on there.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yes, it was. So that's gonna do it for us. I think we have pretty much the same ranking for these big three slasher movies: Halloween, Nightmare, then Friday.
Yes, I will agree with that.
Yeah, that definitely be the one to do. Halloween is something we watch every year. Nightmare, I'm fine to put on whenever, and Friday it's not, it doesn't get as much airtime with me.
Yeah. I was also thinking, why do I like Halloween so much more than the others? And I think it's because it has Halloween vibes, and so that's why I watch it on Halloween every year.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, so maybe I'm just a little biased towards it because it's Halloween.
Yeah, spooky girl likes the spooky stuff.
I like my Halloween time.
You're a real Halloweener, aren't you?
I'm the biggest Halloweener.
I believe it.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.